Good morning. It's 9 o'clock. We're starting. Hey, it's the 19th of April. I want to let everyone know that I hope you had a good weekend. Hope you had a nice time away from the markets, relaxing, getting yourself ready. Who here is ready to crush the markets this week? So let's go ahead and just start out and come up with a great weekly plan on having a great week. Okay. And remember, we're going to do a giveaway on Wednesday. So if you're excited about this week, hey, Reddy, good to see you. Good to see you. If you're excited about this week and you want to have a great week and just plan it ahead, let's hit that like button. And that's what we're going to do. Is we're going to run through some analysis and we're going to make our game plan at the start of the week. Hey, Paul, I found that if we have a game plan and that we take a look at that, it goes a lot better. So, all right, let me pull up the charts. There we go. All right, so I'm going to start with Euro New Zealand. This was actually a trade I took on my other account, and let me show you what I did. It's a swing trade that I grabbed. Okay, this is a pretty nice setup. However, I might have been off on it, which, surprise, surprise, anybody can make a mistake at any time, especially me. So here's what I'm noticing, okay? I am noticing a downtrend, okay? Now, we have a downtrend, but then we have a breakout above this 50-period moving average. You see that? And then once that happens, you'll see that we have the trend line break as well, trend line. And now we're in a channel where price is moving up. So this is a daily channel, okay? One thing, however, is that this could be what they call a bear flag, right? This could be a bear flag. So, hey, Richard, thanks for coming. Thank you. Everybody hit the like button for Richard since it's his first time. Richard, if you have any questions, let us know. What do you trade, Richard? How's your trading going? Do you need any help with anything? You know, we're here to educate, get prepared for the trading week, but also we want to help anybody if they need some help. All right. So thank you for chiming in and letting us know that. If anybody else is their first time, let us know. We're happy to give you guys a shout out and welcome you to the show. All right. So with that being said, guys, let's go back to my analysis. So this is what could be called a bear flag. Okay. So I actually took a long, which means I bought. Let me show you where I bought. I bought right here. Okay. And why did I do that? Because there's a trend line here. Okay. You see how this is, it hits the trend line, pops up, then pops up again, and then hits another trend line. Okay. So right now we had a trend line right here, bounced off of this 50-period moving average. The last time it bounced off the 50-period, it was a nice trade. And then we had this tweezer set up. Okay, so this is the tweezer, right? I like the tweezer. If you guys have seen me in the past, the tweezer is a solid, it's a solid setup. And I don't even know if it's really called the tweezer. That's a weird name. I don't know if that's what it's called, but that's why I got into the trade. Okay. So I'm in the trade right there. And And so my actual official entry was on Friday at the end of the day. So I got in right here. So I'm actually down, but my stop loss is right here. And I'm looking for this to come up. Now, there's two reasons why this was not why it was not my favorite. Oh, and by the way, let me adjust my settings here so you can see what pair it is. Forgive me for that. For some reason, I keep forgetting to do that. Change this to blue. I can actually control where and display some text so you guys can see what currency pair I'm trading. All right. So we wanted to show the title, true, and then it'll display. So now you guys can see right there. You see that? Now you know. Okay, so let me tell you the two reasons why I'm not totally excited about this. So there's three reasons why I like it. Number one is we broke this downward trend. Number two is we're bouncing off the trend line. Okay, so we have reason number one is the trend break. Reason number two is the trend line. And reason number three is the tweezers. Okay, so those three things, I have three solid reasons why, the big three. Okay, three solid reasons why I'm taking this trade. Okay, now there are still two reasons why it might not work out for me. Okay, so when I look at this trade, this is not the best setup. And so sometimes when you want to always try to talk yourself out of a trade. And I learned that from my student, John, who's now my head trading coach at my Forex Master Trader. He's always says, talk yourself out of a trade. So I'm actually trying to do that. And I have another trade that was probably a better choice than this that we're going to talk about. But so we have this and this. So I still think this is a pretty solid setup. But here's the negative side of it. Okay. The negative is the MACD is lowering. Okay. You see the MACD? It's lowering, which doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad trade. Okay. It's just a signal. It's a signal. It's just a clue. Everything in the market is clues. We're like detectives and we're trying to find the clues. So the lowering MACD down here, and by the way, hey, Yugoslav, the lowering MACD, this MACD indicator is a free MACD that I give away. You can get the link in the description to download it. All right. Now, you'll notice that before the MACD was lowering, right? So we're like, oh, we don't want to sell this. The MACD is lowering, and then it drops another 1,000 pips. Okay, so to say that the MACD is lowering here and I don't want to buy, it could still pop another 1,000 pips. So that's not a reason in itself to not take the trade, because it could be exactly. So you see what I'm saying? Do you guys understand this? Look, this right here is lowering. The MACD is lowering. So you're like, oh, it's going to reverse and I need to take a buy. Right? See the MACD right over here? It's lowering. But if we look at the chart, what happened? It just hit a level. Where did it hit? And then it dropped. Okay. And so if we take a look at this level, it's like a pin bar tweezers, one of my signals that I like. So that in itself is not enough, okay, to disqualify a trade. It's just something that I'm paying attention to, right? It's just something that I'm paying attention to. Thanks, Richard, for hitting that like button. I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Okay, now the next thing is something called a bear flag. You see this flag? Okay. What happens with a bear flag is this. And it's not always the case, but a lot of times it'll do that. Okay. And then it'll break below and cut. So we have 1, 2, 3 moves. Is it going to make a fourth one? Maybe. And is it going to cut down? Maybe. I don't know. But this is what happens a lot of times in bear flags. Okay, that's a common theme. If you're interested in learning more about bear flags, I'm going to throw a link in the chat for you that you can read more in depth, right? I put out a lot of training for everybody. I create some of the best trading on the entire internet so you guys can see this stuff, okay? But I posted in the chat. You guys can actually read all about bear flags, and it will kind of show you what I'm talking about. So with that being said, if I believe it's a bear flag, should I have taken this trade? Okay, that's the question that we need to ask ourselves. Should I have taken this trade if I believe this is a bear flag? Well, the answer is I'm still taking this trade. Okay, and the reason is because we have a stop loss here. We have the trend moving up. Okay, so as long as it's moving up, we had a bullish candle. Okay, so that's all the signals for me. So I took the trade right here. All right, now let's go ahead. Oh, thanks. Appreciate it, Richard. Appreciate the bookmark. So here's the thing, okay? I'm going to go down now to an hourly time frame. And this is going to be kind of cool, okay? If one of the things I really like, in addition to like tweezer patterns, is I like trend lines. So if we take this and we draw at the top of this trend, and I'm doing this by hand, so it's not as good as it would be, but you'll notice something. We have a trend wall, okay? And it's happening right here. And we also have a support level right here, okay? So learning these patterns is pretty good. And I can also show you another pattern, but it's not perfect, but it's kind of like a head and shoulders pattern. Shoulder, head, shoulder. You see that? A head and shoulders pattern sometimes will break to the downside. So there's two schools of thought right here. We already looked at this on a daily time frame. All right. There's already a daily time frame. We know that it's currently in a bear flag, but it's moving up, right? So with that being said, if this trend line down here breaks, it might continue the downtrend. And we had the head and shoulders pattern, right? Head and shoulders. And this is called the neckline. This is called the neckline on a head and shoulders. Okay. Anyways, guys, I wanted to also show you that there's a head and shoulders article as well. Okay. But anyways, this neckline, if this breaks to the downside, then we could break out of our flag, right? Remember, we're in a bear flag. If it breaks out of here, that flag could continue to the downside. Let's go back to a daily and look at it. Oh, it didn't hold, and it's going to go lower, right? So we're kind of in a moment of indecision. I took the trade already. I bought this because I'm letting the daily chart be my leader. Okay, I let the daily chart be my leader. However, if the price changes directions and we get a change, then I'm not going to say, oh, I'm going to hold on to this trade forever. No. If it breaks, I have my stop loss down here right now. My stop loss is down here. And the reason I do that is just to give myself a room on the trade. I don't like stopping out of trades. I would rather close it manually. So what I usually do is I'll put my stop loss down here, okay, right? Oh, that's a big stop. That's a huge stop. How big is that stop? Well, it's 100 pips, and that's okay, 100 pips stop loss. Now that I have that big stop loss, I don't want to hit that loss. I'll probably get out a little bit sooner. So let's take a look at it on an hourly time frame. Okay. On the hourly, we have the trend line. Okay, so if I know my stop is down here, 100 pips away, and it breaks this trend line, let's draw the trend line again. If it breaks this trend line, I'm out of the trade, right? So my actual stop loss is only roughly 50 pips instead of 100. Okay. Hey, Bhupendra, thanks for coming in. I appreciate having you here. So that's one way to increase your risk to reward ratio, right? So let me explain how that works. If you have a 100 pip stop and you're risking 2% on the trade, and it breaks this level, well, guess what? You now only have a 1% loss, right? So you're decreasing your loss size, and that helps your risk to reward ratio. In trading, everything's about statistics and money and managing your stats, right? And keeping your risk as small as possible. Really, trading is a risk management game. I saw a guy the other day talking about trading being like gambling. And, if you're running the numbers, it's not gambling, okay? It's a choice. If you just want to trade haphazardly, then it is gambling, right? You get to choose whether you want to be a gambler or a trader. Go ahead and let me know in the chat what you're going to decide to do. Sometimes you just got to write things down and make up your decision and speak it out loud and let other people know about your decision. Are you a gambler or a trader? Let me know in the chat how you feel about that. All right. I'm going to be a trader, right? So that means I want to consistently keep my risk tighter. All right. Now let's keep moving. And I know I've been taking some time. All right, Robin, good. I've been taking some time on this, but sometimes you just got to go slow, right? If this breaks to the upside, that's a confirmation that the daily pattern I saw was looking good. So we do currently have a pretty strong resistance area right here. Okay. You see right here, that's where price stopped in the past, and that was support. So price breaks the support, and then it becomes resistance. Okay. You see how it stopped right here? So price stopped here, it stopped here, and it stopped right here. And then it finally broke it, and it came back down, and it stopped again, right? So this level is constantly stopping, and now it's challenging it one more time. So if it breaks this level again, it might finally break it for the last time, pop up, and then move on back up. And where would we be going? Well, I think we could safely say, and of course I don't know anything, but I think we could get right back up here, right? Right back up into these moving averages, at least up to the top of this high, right? At least up there, and perhaps up here, right? That's definitely a possibility. Now, there is going to be some resistance along the way. If it breaks up, there's going to be some resistance right here, because we can see that price had stopped here. Okay, you see that? Resistance. And if it doesn't break through, we could get that bear flag continuation, right? And if you've seen me at all, you guys know that I'm glad that Robin is participating and that Robin is making a decision. So because of that, I am going to give Robin, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to say that he's got a better chance than the rest of you that are listening, just because he's participating and he's willing to stick his neck out. He's not hiding in the shadows, hiding in the internet shadows. I'll tell you, I did this thing one time and it was crazy, but I think sometimes we got to be a little crazy. And this trading mentor that I follow, and he said something on social media, and he said, do you guys want to be successful in trading? Now, this was just pay attention to this story. He said, do you guys want to be successful in trading? He says, I'm going to ask you to commit to something. And for those of you that are all willing to commit and give your word, reply to me on social media. Okay, so you know me. If you guys might not know me, but if you know me, you give me a challenge like that to make a commitment, I'm all in, baby. I'm all in, right? Give me that line to cross, I'm crossing it, right? But he didn't tell us what the commitment was. He says, I'm going to ask you to make a commitment, and no matter what I say, you have to commit to doing it, right? And I'm that's bold, because I don't know this dude. I know he's a trading mentor, but I don't know what he's going to say. right? And yet I still took the challenge. I said, I will do whatever you say. And there were hundreds of people, thousands of people that said, yes, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. Right. And here's the thing about me. If I give my word, I'm going to really try hard within all of the ability that I have, that I'm going to honor my word, because our word is one of the most important things that we have. Our word, and that our actions are in line with our words. Okay. Very important, right? If you're a person, if you're a trader, start practicing honoring your word, keeping track of what you say, that you do what you say you're going to do. Okay. So anyway, so I went ahead and I made the commitment. I said, I'm going to do it. Right. And there were so many people that did that, but we didn't know what he was going to ask us to do. But I just like, he's a trading mentor. I'm going to do what he says. I'm just going to commit, and whatever he tells me, I'm going to do. Right. So a few days later, he comes out and he says, okay, for everybody that made your commitment, now's your time to honor your word. It's integrity. And the thing that he asked us to do was really crazy. He said, I want you to get into your car, and I want you to take $100, and I want you to drive down the road, and I want you to throw the $100 out the window when you're driving and record yourself doing it. Okay. And so I thought, that really is odd. Why would I want to throw $100 out the window? Like, that's just insane. But I didn't really want to do it, but I gave my word that I would do it. And as a result, he had made a commitment as well that he would do $100 for every person that followed and did $100. And I think out of maybe the hundreds of people that actually said they would commit, I think maybe only a handful actually committed. And I was one of those. And I recorded myself throwing the money out the window. And that may seem crazy, but to me, he says, okay, for you guys that did that honored your word, you're much more likely to be successful. Because in order to be successful, you've got to have integrity, and you have to be able to honor your word. And when you're trading and you set a stop loss, you're honoring your word to yourself. Okay, you're saying, I'm going to take this out. If you don't have integrity with yourself, it's gambling, right, Yugoslav? If you don't have integrity, and you say, I'm going to get out of the trade right here, you point there at the chart. If I tell myself that I'm going to get out of the trade right here and I don't do it, that's a lack of integrity. You're not keeping your word, and your loss will be bigger because of your lack of integrity. Your loss will be bigger than what you said it was going to be, right? And so, another mentor of mine said that this is 20% head knowledge, 80% behavior. 20% head knowledge, 80% behavior, right? So everyone around is always asking me, what's the magic strategy? I need to know the indicator. I need to know the strategy. I need to know, and yet they continue to fail. And it's because of it's 80% behavior. I could tell you about the great trades all day long, but if you can't honor your word to yourself and you cannot follow through and have some integrity, how are you going to be successful? You're not. You're not going to be successful. Okay? I'm just laying it out there. It's not, you're looking at the wrong thing. You're looking at external things like special tools, and I'm all about tools. Let's get our tools going. But tools are not going to help you if you cannot have integrity. I can see Robin agrees with me. Does anybody else agree with that? Maybe you guys need to go to the other trading channel and where they don't talk about this. This is not talked about a lot. Okay. It's 80% behavior. And look, I'm not like some kind of amazing disciplinarian. Like, I don't have like this great self-discipline. Okay. I struggle with this just like everybody else does. But over time, the importance of my word is really grown. And if I can't keep my own word, then I'm like a worthless person, right? And so I'm not going to beat myself up all day when I do it, because otherwise I'll live in a state of depression. But at the same time, when I fail, I just commit to getting back up and starting over again. I'm not going to beat myself up because I didn't do it on purpose. I wasn't intentionally sabotaging myself, but I'm just going to get back up and I'm going to do what's right. I'm just going to keep doing what's right. If doing what was right was easy, everybody would do it. It's not easy. It's not easy, but you can do it. You just got to make up your mind, and you're going to fall down. You're going to fall down, but you just got to get back up. You just got to get back up. All right. So there's my little soapbox message for the day. And it's funny. I am supposed to be more planned, and I wasn't going to talk about that, but it's what is going on inside of me right now. So I thought, what's on the inside comes out, right? What's on the inside comes out. So let's go ahead. So right now, just a final word on this trade. If this thing does break up, I think it could be a nice little upward trade, okay? And that's what I'm leaning towards. I actually already have a position on. And I'm looking at maybe getting in, adding some if it breaks this, okay? And if it doesn't, I'm going to get out here. All right. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Nigel. All right. I appreciate it. Thank you, Farid. Thank you, Abdul. I really appreciate that. Caroling, I appreciate it. I really appreciate the comments. Okay. Well, let's look at the other trade that I took that I'm currently in profit on, or at least I was the last time I checked it, and that was the pound New Zealand. So this is the Euro New Zealand, and this is the pound New Zealand, okay? So let's start out by doing the daily. This is an hourly. Oh, wow, nice looking trade. Okay, so it's almost the same trade. It's almost the same trade. It's just a pound versus the New Zealand. So we got an upward trend, right? You can see we broke the down. So the pound is a little stronger than the euro. So I took it on both, right? The pound is a little stronger on the euro, but we broke this uptrend. And we have a channel going. So it's literally the same pattern. It's literally the same pattern. And then I went ahead and I took this on Friday because you see this tweezer was a lot stronger. Okay. So with that being said, I was a lot more excited about this trade because it was stronger. The MACD had already gone negative. And we had this candle bounce. And so I got in probably around 190.27, something like that. And you can see I'm up nicely right now. So it's the exact same trade. It's just that the pound was a little bit stronger. So when you're looking at your trades, here's another, I'm going to give you guys another resource. Okay. Another resource for you. All right. This is a tool, and you can just click on it to get access to it. But this is a tool that will tell you the currency strength. I posted it in the chat. It's the power indicator. You just click it, and then it will show you what the strongest pairs are. Okay, and so you can see over the course of the month, the pound has been stronger than the euro, right? So if you're going to trade the Euro New Zealand or the pound, which would you pick? Well, you'd want to pick the pound, right? And so when I see the pattern happening, I'm like, okay, let's go with the better trade. So in this case, I took both of them because I thought they both had some potential. But one of the things you can do to help you is when you're first starting out too, is only take the absolute best setup. So come up with a little checklist and say, okay, what's the power indicator say? What's the trend? What's happening on my risk? What's the bigger trend, the shorter trend? And ask yourself all of these questions and then come up with a little check sheet, right? And that will help you determine which trade is a better trade. which trade would be more interesting, which trade has a better opportunity. Because if you go after only the best setups, you're going to do better rather than taking a bunch of mediocre setups. Those mediocre setups will sabotage your profit. Okay, so you want to take only the best setups. So in this case, this is looking pretty good. Let's look at it on the hourly now. We are currently up into some resistance, but it's the same setup again as that euro yen or euro New Zealand, right? I was like, oh, is it going to break right here? There was resistance, and it did. So this hopefully will lead the way for the euro to break. It's a very similar pattern. I'm hoping that it'll lead the way. But, you know, the pound is stronger, and everybody's excited about the pound because they got more vaccines right now, and all of that good stuff, right? Another trade that I was looking at was the euro pound, and that one, you know, see, again, my discipline saved me on that one. I was looking at this breaking the uptrend. Okay. So your discipline will help you tremendously. Take a look at this. Broke the uptrend, and now it's up at a support level. You see that? And it's breaking lower. So we might get a chance for this to continue to move lower. So that's, again, another sign that the euro could continue some down moves, which might hurt my euro New Zealand trade. But I'm not in big trouble with it because I'm managing my risk. So with the euro pound, here's what I did is I analyzed this break, and I said, okay, we've got a trend change. The moving average, this is a 20, a 150, and a 50 pattern, 50 simple moving average for everybody that's interested in my moving averages. Okay. The price is now moving lower. We had a breakout. Let's look at it on a weekly. You can see weekly, it looks like it's trying to go back down. All right. You see that? It's a pin bar, and the price is moving lower. But I was bullish because of that trend line change. And so what I did was I was trading this on breakouts, and I used this. This is you guys should know this, or not, maybe not Richard because it's first time, but I like to do breakouts in the direction of the trend. So I took this trade right here and got a nice trade. I took this trade. I took both of these trades, right? And I got in right here. You see that? Boom. And I made like 25 pips on it. So I was able to get two really good trades on this. Now, what saved me was I put a trend line going down, right? And I'm like, I'm not going to take this unless the trend line breaks to the upside. Okay, and it did break, but I wasn't watching it when it happened. But earlier, you see it broke right here. I didn't take this. I waited. I'm like, okay, I'm waiting. I didn't take this. I'm waiting. I didn't take it. And then finally it broke. Okay, now it was a very short term. A lot of times these trends, if they're a short-term reversal, it goes 25 pips and drops, which is what happened. It didn't go anywhere. But I wasn't trading, so I didn't take it. But my patience kept me out of it. However, if I was trading and I took this, it would probably have been either a break even or a small winner, right? So even though the trend was backwards and I wasn't right, but because of being patient and waiting for the breakout, it became a good setup. So now I'm kind of changed my tune again. Now we've just broke below. See all these moving averages now? They're pointing lower. And this could be a fake out trying to go higher. But look, I have a trend wall here now. Okay. And I have a downward channel happening. Okay. So this is actually technically on a 1 hour time frame. This is what you would call a bull flag, and a bull flag usually goes up. You can go back to that link I gave you. But in this case, we broke out of the bottom. We broke out of the bottom, and so now the downtrend might be continuing. Okay? And we saw how strong the pound was today. So I don't really want to take this on a long unless it breaks out of this channel. Okay, so I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt here. But what can happen, what I'd rather see, I don't want to take this at the bottom. I'm not a big fan of taking trades at the bottom, right? Now, if it does break out of this, it might go like that and then come up, right? That's a possibility. But what I will be rather seeing happen is when a price breaks a level like it did here, it retests. So you see how it broke and then it retested? Okay, you see that? So now I'm looking for another retest. So where could it go? Well, it could go, and that is the worst line in the world. Let me draw a real line. It could go right back up here. Okay, so if the price comes back up here, what would I be looking for? Well, I'm looking for two things. I'm looking for the price to break to the upside, or I'm looking for price to break to the downside. Okay, and since we see the pound being so strong, well, the trade that I'm really interested in is waiting for this to come and then make a short. And so how would I do this? And so this just takes a lot of patience. Just takes a lot of patience. But we just sit here, we wait for it to come back up, and then we draw a line. And when it breaks that line, we take this trade. And where's it going to go? It's going to go down here, right? So it breaks right here, and we're trying to get down here. Okay? Really important. Hey, Thomas, thank you. Good morning or good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome and thank you. All right. So that's what I'm looking at on this euro pound, right? Euro pound looking, my instinct now is to go and short this on a bounce. Had I done that earlier, let's take a look. What would have happened if I would have been trading this? We go back to the 15-minute, right? We had our breakout. I draw a line in here. There's the move. Look at that. It's a big one. It's a nice move. Right here would be the entry, and the timing is perfect on it. We could, there's always two different ways to take the trade, and it depends on your FOMO level and your patience. But way number one on a breakout is to take this break. And that would be a fine trade. You see that? Entry point is on point. The next way is to wait for it to retrace and then take in on another entry. So if you were patient, you could have waited for this. And it's not a lot. It's just depending on how you want to trade. If you want to trade the break, you put your stop up here, okay, and you get the move. And so that's a great trade. There's nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, your stop loss would be about 20 pips, and right here your take profit is 40, so you got a 2-to-1. Really solid trade. Now the second way is to be patient and then wait for it to break here. And so you would have given up a few pips. Does that make sense to everyone? Can you guys see that? How it hooks back? Most of the time it will hook back, so you just be patient. But in this case, you would give yourself an additional 6 pips for confirmation. Now, there's a couple different rules on this. You could keep your stop loss the same, which would really help your win-loss rate. And you still got a really nice 35 pip target, right? Really solid. Instead of a 40 pip, you got 35, okay? 31. You know, it's not a big deal, okay? But you could also tighten it and go to this level because you already had the fake, you tighten it, and instead of going with a 30 pip stop, you're going with a 15, right? And so what that does is it increases your winnings. It increases your win size, but it has to be strategically calculated and planned. And what I would do, here's what I recommend that you guys do, because I want you guys to learn this. You know, I could tell you what to do, but I want you to learn it. And so what you do is you test it. You go in and you take 20 trades. See, this is what helps you learn to get over FOMO, right? FOMO will go away if you test things. So I say to myself, I'm going to take 20 trades, and every time I'm going to wait for the retest, and I'm going to get in when it comes and confirmations. Okay? You do that 20 times. And what you do is you calculate the results for 20 different trades, right? You take 20 trades, you calculate it for 20 times, and then you see what happens. And you write down the results. And you're like, oh, crap, that was awesome. Oh, man, that was great, right? But then you're like, well, that worked good, but what about if I just do it with this and I don't wait for the retest? And I take the trade here. Well, take 20 trades. Take 20 trades and use a confirmation. Without confirmation, say, okay, we got the trend line break. I'm going to put my stop loss right here, and I'm going to take 20 trades. And then you evaluate sample A versus sample B. Okay, and when that happens, you're going to learn a tremendous amount about what happens in the market. Okay, it's really, really important that you do that. But do most people do that? No, they don't. Most people have FOMO. They're going to take the trade and then no matter what, because they're afraid they're going to miss it. So just by being patient and waiting for your entry, that also helps. You know, it helps you with FOMO because, look, I have not going to take a trade here. Now, I could be patient. I might want to take this trade, right? I might want to take this trade if we get a breakout here. If we bounce off of this trend, if this is a channel bottom and it's hitting it right now. Here, now it's hitting. You see that? It's hitting. So if we get some kind of tweezer set up and a breakout or a double bottom or a reverse head and shoulders or whatever, you see the MACD's down here. So we're going to get a bounce, right? Do I want to take this trade and catch it to the top of this? Sure. Why not? Right? But calculate it. Use your FOMO training. And then evaluate the results. Okay. And there you have it. So this is a great question. So I'm going to post this up. Is it better to take the 20 trades on a 15-minute time frame? Well, to be honest, it really doesn't matter. I mean, you could do it on a 15, on an hour, on a 4-hour. It just depends upon how much screen time you have, right? And if you're going to do an hourly, it's going to take longer to be waiting. You're going to have to wait because it takes longer for the trade to set up. If it's a 15-minute, it'll happen sooner, right? It'll happen quicker. And so it just depends on your mindset too. Are you a fast-moving person? You might want to do it on the 15. But right now, I'm just going to wait for this. But my ideal play is to wait for it to come back up here and then move, or here and then move, or here and then move. So I'd be drawing a trend line, and I'd be waiting for it to break one of these levels and then continue on to the downside. That's the ideal best setup at this point. But does that mean that that's actually going to happen? I don't know. We already had a break, so this trend could be faking everybody out. We already had a breakout. It could be faking everybody out. I'm inclined to believe that we're going to keep moving lower. So, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to fake people, right? So it might do this, and I don't know what's going to happen, but it might do this. Boom, fake out. Everybody's getting squeezed. All these short people are getting squeezed, and they're getting crushed right here. Okay, so so I believe the best setup is to wait for the short. Okay, but I don't know what's going to happen. So you just got to analyze. You know, analyzing stuff is the easy part, right? That's why I said it's 20% knowledge, 80% behavior. That's why trading is so hard, and that's why you see analysts. You know, if you want to work for like a broker or whatever, or like, you know, Owanda, right? Owanda has professional analysts, or CNBC has professional analysts, right? Being an analyst is, I mean, those guys do work, and I'm not knocking what they do, but it's so much easier because this is 20% head knowledge, 80% behavior. So the head knowledge and saying, oh, the market's going to do this or it's going to do that, that's the easy part. Like, you guys can watch this channel for a very short period of time. You know, you watch this channel for a month and you guys are going to be experts on this stuff, right? But the hard part is the 80% behavior. That's the part that I struggle with. That's the part that everybody struggles with, right? So part of the behavior is being patient and waiting for your setup. So I will probably be willing to take this on a bounce just because of the MACD. You know, we're actually at a place where we have divergence right now. Okay, so we talk about divergence. If you know what divergence is, it means that the MACD went here and price went here. Okay, do you see that? And then as the price broke a new low, the MACD is not making a new low. So the way to see this is you draw the line going this way on the MACD, and then you draw the line going that way on the chart. So it's a divergence setup. And when you see a divergence, understand that a reversal is coming. But what most people do is that they see the divergence and they're like, okay, I'm going to buy, right? And then the market just keeps going down and then they lose. And then it decides to make the reverse, right? So you see divergence. Oh, okay, divergence. I'm going to get in. Boom, you buy. It keeps moving. It stops you out. And then it decides to move up, right? And a lot of times it might not even move up as high as you want. So if you bought here and it keeps going, it might only go right to where you got in. And at the very best scenario is to take a very small loss, right? Because it divergence, it's going to reverse. Yes, but we don't know when it's going to reverse. You have to, again, be patient and wait for reversal signals, right? We need a bearish, we need a pattern. We need a W pattern down here. We need a head and shoulders pattern. We need a tweezers pattern. We need something that's going to show us that the price is going to reverse here, right? We need a trend line break, something. Just because there's divergence, you don't want to take the trade, because if you take it right here, it comes down. Well, you get stopped out here. If you don't get stopped out here, you wait and then you could take this. Well, that's okay. But most people are like, oh yeah, my trade's coming back, and you're up like 1 pip and you don't close it, and then it tanks and you end up taking a loser anyways, right? You see how that works? So patience, right? Patience. So if we're going to take this setup, let's be patient on it. We got a trend line here. We need some kind of signal. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles in a row. So you're going in long already, Richard. Well, hope that works for you. Are you short or long? Oh, you're buying. Okay. So Richard is buying right now. And so I would never, ever, ever tell anybody that they're making a bad trade, but I would say that there's no bullish price action. There's no reason that I could see to get in on this at all. I don't really even see a head and shoulders pattern. I just see a straight move down, right? But I'm sure everybody sees different things. Everybody sees different things, right? So you're at 86.04, 86, 86.09, 86.09. Well, it looks like it just hit 86.09 right here, right? That's the buy. And, you know, I do see this trend wall, so it actually is bouncing. So that, you know, if that's, so that's another great, yeah. Okay, so that's a solid strategy. Okay, that's a solid strategy, by the way. The way I like to do it is to wait for some kind of bullish action, okay, which is we're getting it right now. Awesome. We're getting that bullish action. That's solid. But I like to wait for it. Other traders will put the order right on support, right? And that works for them, right? That's not how I trade usually. Okay. But if you see a level and you want to put your buy right on the support, then do that. Just know that just like anything else, you're going to have sometimes price is going to go like this and it's just going to crush right through it, right? A lot of times you get that respect. So you have to, again, you have to track your results and say, is it better to just take the trade or is it better to wait for confirmation? Once you do 20 trades right on support, there's no confirmation. You take it, you 20, and then the other one, you wait for some kind of price action. You wait for a trend line break. You wait for a tweezer pattern. You wait for some, like right now, let's just look at this. There's 10 minutes till this candle closes, right? If this ends up closing right here, wait, get my pen back. If it closes here and we fill this in, that is a bullish pattern. It's a bullish tweezer, and you can put your stop right there, and then you could take the trade up, right? And you have your trend line here. That would be a bullish pattern if you get the tweezer. And do I trade that? Well, yeah, I just took it on the Euro New Zealand. So that would be a setup, right? You do have some resistance here. So you could either take the trade down here or you wait for a bullish pattern. Anything would work like that. Absolutely anything would work. Okay. So, yeah, that's actually a great way to trade. Let's take a look at, let's, oh my goodness. I'm going to look at XRP. And, XRP is something that actually I was thinking about it the other day. Crypto, do we have XRP? I want to tell you guys about XRP. Okay. And this is one of those situations where it makes me sad. And sometimes when I look at in the hindsight, I just get depressed. Okay. So let me just tell you about my XRP story. All right. XRP. I was buying XRP a lot. All right. I was buying XRP. Like every time I got extra money, I would make money on trades. I would do whatever, and I'd buy XRP. Okay. So what I was doing was, if we look in, I started doing it when it hit one of these, when it started to drop. Right. So I had a feeling that it was going to bounce. Right. And you look at XRP, this is amazing. I just kept buying. So here's what I was doing. I was buying XRP, buying XRP, buying XRP, buying. And then finally we got a spike. If you look at the price here, it was 15 cents. So I was getting a ton of cheap XRP. And then it spiked and I got out. And I made a great profit. And I'm not complaining, but sometimes it hurts a little because I'm a trader and traders make money. But had I still held this all the way up here, as much XRP as I had, it would have been a really good payday. So, that's something else you want to consider when you're investing in something. Maybe leave a little bit on the table. Or take some profit, but then leave some on, because I got pretty beat up. I mean, it went almost to $2. Well, right now, let's just do the analysis on this. Right now, it's pretty bearish. Let's take a look at there's not even really a channel to draw, but we could draw a fib. There's a couple levels on a fib because it's too steep for a channel. There's a fib level here, here, and here. But if we look at the last time when it did this, it went boom. And then it just tanked. There was no continuation. So, you know, if we want to see the channel hang in there, this channel survived. The last time there was a channel, it just broke. But we do kind of have a channel right here. So there's a possibility here, a possibility here, the 50. But I probably wouldn't buy this unless we get any kind of reversal, right? So let's look at it on an hourly now. This is the famous pattern. What pattern do we have? What pattern is this? Anybody know what pattern we got right now? What pattern is this? Tell me if you guys know. Let's see the winner. Hey, thanks, Richard. Have a good one. I appreciate it. Any other questions you need, just come on in. Okay. So everyone's saying bull flag, and that's what I'm seeing. And then Paul said head and shoulders. So I'm seeing the bull flag. I kind of cheated because I drew it. The head and shoulders, I'm not really seeing as much. We got a head here, maybe. Here's a head, shoulder, but it's the reason I don't see the head and shoulders is because it's moving down. A shoulder would look more like this, right? Where it's, and then we have the neckline, and then it breaks that neckline. So let me see. I'm sure I could see it there somewhere. I just don't see it because this shoulder gets up higher. Well, maybe this one. This is the shoulder, right? Maybe that's the head and shoulder. But in that case, it's already broke the neckline, and that pattern's already been invalidated, right? So it broke here, head. So yeah, right. So I'm seeing a bull flag. So I would be waiting for this to break and pop, and maybe it'll stay in the channel, maybe it won't, but at least up to here and to here. So hopefully that's something that you guys could take a look at if you're interested in that. Pretty interesting setup right there. And hey, so anyways, I'm gonna sign out. Oh wait, I'm gonna hit Thomas. Thomas had a question. I want to thank everybody. Hit the like button for me, and also subscribe because we are doing a giveaway next week, and that would be really solid to get as many people in the giveaway. So you might be right though, Paul, if that was the one that I saw. And go back and look at those links I put out. But here's the shoulders here, the head's right here, and the shoulders here. So this is a head and shoulders pattern, right? That's perfect. Okay, you see that? That's a perfect head and shoulders. And then we have the neckline. It broke the neckline. It came back up and retested, and then boom, right? Okay, so good job, Paul. I really appreciate it. Awesome. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Thomas, you asked about TradingView. I can't give you my setup on TradingView, but these indicators that I have, you can get them on MT4, and I'll give you a link. You can get a free demo account on MT4. I posted the link in the chat there. Traders Way, that's the broker that I'm using. You can see that right here. It's a good broker. And the Savvy MACD is a free tool, right? And then this money management tool is pretty affordable. It's an affordable tool, but this one's free and this one's pretty low priced. So, and they're available for MT4, which I put a link in the MT4. Okay, so guys, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, because we're going to do a giveaway next week. And if you come in early and ask me questions, I'll be able to look at any pairs you want, any education that you guys want. But I just want to thank everybody for chiming in. Hopefully you guys have a great trading week. Thank you.